programs or projects. And so the Primms tool is set up so that you have this type of a layout such that you have functional buckets, so to speak, that might be R&D, like finance, human resources, information technology, operations, etc. And you may also have contracts, customer contracts, or cross-functional programs like ERP, those types of things. And so what it allows you the flexibility for project managers to kind of log into their own program code area, and if there's cross-functional relationships or dependencies, those are allowed, and you can also move projects from one to the other if need be. So if we take this, and for instance we take and we click on the finance grouping here, it would then show what we have in terms of the projects that would fall under finance. And this gives kind of a snapshot of what's going on in that functional group. And if we wanted, it would show then the project code, the project manager, what phase it's in, whether it's initiation, execution, closeout, operate and maintain, or whatever, and also where we stand in terms of what the expectation is when it's going to finish. And if we then click again, we then drill down into the actual project itself that we've chosen. And here this is more the project manager's view, which we call the local admin view. And we have the various milestones that are in for this project. The milestones are anchored and provide basic information in terms of their status for reaching sufficiency. So they're this is very much like a quality gate or a Q gate type of arrangement where we have sufficiency criteria for our milestones, and we have meters. This is for criteria being met for the entire project. These are meters for each of the milestones. And so if we kind of clicked on one of these here, within each milestone we have a table of exit criteria, which is really completion criteria plus quality sufficiency criteria. We have responsible owners. We have basically what it is, the criteria, like here, execute baseline cycle 2 test that might take 12 steps. See the difference between this and traditional Gantt charts and WBS? This tends to force the project manager to operate at a little bit more strategic level. And here we then have, for instance, defects. You have basically how many you might have, what's it take to be sufficient to exit and reach achievement of the milestone. And then you have your planned date, your forecast date, and your actual date. And these are things that the project manager keeps updated. And by doing that then, it allows the creation of a slip chart like this, where basically it automatically tracks the achievement of a milestone. In this case, this is the planned end date. This would be the actual end date. Here's the plan, and slipped from 5/31 to 7/19. And here's where we have one that is from 9/20 and forecasted to 10/15. And this is one of the critical things for success on projects, is that not only do you actually track actuals, but you make sure you have visibility to the forecasts. So when you see, why is that slipping? Or you say, this one is not slipping, and the question is, if everything else is slipping, how come this isn't? And it forces a very, very detailed, substantive type of discussion on this type of thing. So these are some of the tools for schedule. For cost, we have we collect pretty much the basic budget and actual and forecast information on different dimensions of budget for capital expense and internal labor. Pretty standard for cost management. And we can also record risks, and we take a look at, we have a risk bubble chart to basically view where our risks stand both in terms of severity and in risk likelihood, and we record these. This is very, very useful for giving sponsors updates in terms of where you stand. If it's a red risk, it means it's still open. If it's green, it means it's been mitigated or eliminated. So it gives them a sense of how the project is doing, and it's also helping the project manager focus on what's most important. Here we have some other standard functional kinds of reports. This would allow, for instance, cross-project reporting. Here we might have one finance project and one R&D project. Perhaps they combine to be working in a program. So this allows you to essentially report on various projects that might be in different areas but are cross-functional and forming a program, and you want a view of how that all operates, both in terms of risks, status, and budget, for instance, looking at what you've actually spent and forecast of finished spending. And then here's a kind of a traditional, this is rather small, very sorry on this, but it gives you a sense of, this would be a particular, this was that finance project, and this shows the milestones and the dates, and we have risks and dollars here. So it can be cross-functional reporting or cross-project reporting, as well as individual project reporting, and also basic traffic light assessments of overall status here. Here we're integrating Primms with a visualization tool. In this case, it's Tableau. And this is another way of, again, helping the project manager and the portfolio manager deal with complexity. You could have hundreds of projects, and how do you distill it down to those things that are absolutely critical? And what you can do, for instance, is take the output of Primms on those request reports, those Excel sheets, input those into different tools, or just even in Excel, leave it in Excel, and you can say that, okay, here's the projects we have in approved phase, initiation, planning, execution, and operate and maintain or closeout. And I like to call this the touchdown report because a lot of times sponsors and portfolio managers want to know which projects are in execution and what's it going to take to get them to cross the finish line. And so that allows them to reduce all the data and focus on what's most important to answering certain questions. And then here, we have projects that were due in Q3. This one's still not done. Why not? Q4, these are to be done this year. What kind of shape are they in? And this leads to a good, healthy dialogue in terms of questioning how these projects are doing. This also shows the various programs. So with color coding, you can do that. So again, this is an example of how Primms, in this case working with a visualization tool, gives you the information to reduce the complexity and get through all that noise to get down to what's most important. And other meetings might be on taking projects that are kind of brewing and getting them going. So that's another set of discussions that need to occur. When you have high priority projects, getting them to the next level, so to speak. And so basically, what does it take to get the projects across the finish line? Where do the projects stand in terms of schedule, scope, and budget? What projects are upcoming, and what are the resource assumptions? What are these multiple projects doing to other projects? That's always critical. And so also what we have, in using a tool such as Tableau with Primms, we're able to categorize projects and look at, for instance, the number of risks in one dimension and the slippage that's been occurring in another. And we capture all of this in the Primms tool and make it available for importing and exporting. And it allows portfolio reports such as this to be developed that would show, for instance, projects that would be in the low risk, low slippage area, low risk, high slippage, high risk, low slippage, high risk, high slippage. See, all of those are different kinds of questions tend to get asked from the project sponsors to project managers depending on the kind of situation they're in. And having this kind of an analysis is very helpful. So Primms helps support that. It also allows, because it interfaces with tools such as MS Project and OpenPlan and so on, for cost management, you can also use some of the standard approaches for managing budgets, such as your Budget at Complete, ACWP, ETC, and EAC, all of these kinds of things, and track costs, because these are project numbers that you would use for your own accounting system. So it's very, very helpful in terms of slicing and dicing cost management information as well as schedule information, and importing and using other tools as needed. It doesn't require usage of other tools, but it will allow that. And then you might have certain exception reports using some of these visualization tools